it's been during this season of BNI, the two things are acquire new customers, yes, right? We use advertising to do that. But probably equally important, arguably more important, is retain the people that you already have and keep them coming back and back and back and back. So if you take nothing away from my presentation today other than this, understand that marketing communications and social media marketing communications is all about attracting new people using Facebook and Instagram advertising. Yes, they're the people that don't know you, but also basically keeping the people that you already have coming back and educating them about what it is you do and why it is you are super awesome compared to everybody else. Okay. And look, again, the fantastic thing about having Michael go before me, we live by have fun, do good. That's what my business is all about, right? I hope that in terms of I give that off, but realistically, we know the BNI philosophy is give as gain. The Dify social philosophy is have fun, do good. Through B1G1, we support a number of charities across the globe. Primarily in the first place, my wife is Vietnamese, as you've met, so we basically partner with Blue Dragon in Vietnam, but also with .com Mob here in Australia to provide IT and literacy for Indigenous people who I have a real heart for. You was mentioned before around Broome, and I've mentioned it a number of times. I'm really keen to continue, the growth in Indigenous business particularly. Next slide, thanks. Rightio. So often we get people and they generally speaking should pick up that less than 13% have any strategy around social media. Just so you know, Yellow Social Media do a report every year, less than 13%, right? So when they come to me, they have no objectives, right? And so no objectives means probably not going to get to where you want to go. So often people will say, oh, I've tried, it doesn't work. Well, okay, what did you do, right? That's the first question I'll ask them, right? But anyway, the objectives for you, and you can reverse brief it to people that you might talk to if they come to you around digital marketing or any form of marketing, really. What are you going to do for my business, right? Often people say, I want to sell more. You're like, okay, well, that's obvious, right? But realistically, what we do is we protect your small business brand. We differentiate you from other small businesses, and I'll show you how we do that in a minute. And we want you to be top of mind. Be top of mind of the people that already know you, because you're constantly, doing posts and messages and broadcasting, but also you're engaging and socially, you're being social with them. And ultimately, yes, we want to grow your business. But realistically, I would always be cautious if you hear the word social selling, because selling very rarely happens on social media itself. The selling normally happens back in the office with Justin or back on the website if it's an e-commerce website. The sale happens somewhere else. My job is to get the sale, and so there's an opportunity for a conversation to happen, right? It's a bit like BNI. Realistically, a sale doesn't happen just because we've invited them to come along to the chapter, right? Ultimately, the sale happens after they figure out whether it's something that is for them or not, right? So next slide, thank you.
3.5 minutes, just FYI.
Cool, no worries. Right, so all of our services, we're a no smoke and mirrors business, right? So all of our services, all of our pricing are listed on the website, just so to step those out for you. And I'll put a brochure. I've got a new brochure. I'll put it in the chat afterwards, right? Because it's step it out. Essentially, we always have a chat first or a one-to-one to learn about the business. Next, we do an audit and consult. That pricing is on there. If people want to proceed, we don't charge that audit and consult, right? Then we do a setup and planning session. It's a 5-hour day. After that day, we know we'll either manage at an extra small level or a small business level. That's our service. So basically, we have a very stringent and strict sort of pricing mechanism, right? For one of a better example, we're kind of like McDonald's. We're very specific, very focused, very systemized around what we do and how we do it for our clients. And a few of them are in the room today, and so they would probably attest to that. Next slide, please. This one is the kicker. It is our model. It's tried and tested. 7 or 8 years I've been doing this, right? More than 350 customers that we've worked with. Ultimately, what marketers call marketing, small business just calls business. So you can call that the small business house on the left-hand side. You can see the social media marketing sits up in the top with the marketing communications. We start with you. We want you to be all-star on LinkedIn, but it's not really about you, right? Ultimately, it's about small business social media marketing. And if you look at that middle column, there's the 6 social media, well, in fact, the 4 social media networks, which is LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And then you've got Google My Business, and Google owns YouTube. So we set all those up. and we post through them, and we tell people to use the content from their website, because then you get the benefit of search and of social, right? So we use a repurposing strategy. I've mentioned a little bit already the Yellow Social Media Report. It tells us that less than 50% of people have a Facebook page, small businesses, right? And of them, less than 30% have ever advertised. So bugger all chance that social media was probably working for them, because they also don't have a strategy. Next slide, thank you. We've worked with some wonderful customers. So in terms of, for us, it is about having fun doing good. And so it's professional businesses, it's fun businesses, it's essential businesses, and it's online businesses. And here's a few examples, probably from a bread and butter through to dream and cream, or cream and dream. So Roy, who's here today, would probably sit in that sort of cream type customer, because he's a fantastic business, absolutely corporate, you know, he's got some brilliant clients. A dream client moves more into that multi-outlet, you know, where we could work with multiple action indoor sports groups. We can work with multiple mortgage choice, whatever it might well be, right? So that there's multiple outlets of who we work with. Next slide, thank you. So in terms of an avatar, you know, realistically, the easiest way to put it, it's a 10-year swing from me, right? Typically, I work with businesses and my marketers are a much greater swing, right? So the great thing about my marketers, they're a 25-year swing from me. But they're exactly who people expect to be talking to social media about. They're of that age, they get it, right? So I talk to them about strategy. They're all qualified marketers. I don't have to teach them strategy. They know strategy, right? I just have to teach them, and we coach them, and we're very good at what we do, service delivery. But in terms of client, the client is typically 43 to 63 years old, right? And they typically live now in the capital cities of Australia. They're running great businesses. And then, as I said, we want to have fun, do good with them. We consider ourselves, you know, Davids when it comes to social media marketing. It is more powerful to be a small business than it is to be a big business on social media, just so you know, right? It's because we most likely love Adam in Williamstown or Newport, right? But we don't necessarily like corporate brands. So the last thing I'll say, one of the reasons that we're really powerful is because small business is powerful on social media, but we also try and win from the bottom up. So we win from Adam first, to Finance second, to the brand third, which is very untypical, right? Most brands, particularly big brands, work from the top down and they sort of bottom feed. We work from the other way up. And I think that's got to do with my grassroots sports background, but I use a lot of sporting background, as does Adam, into my processes and my culture. So that final slide, thanks. Thanks, Adam. Yeah, so clearly I'm on all the social media. There is Stephen G on Facebook. Clearly LinkedIn is the main profile that we use, and clearly we practice exactly what we preach. So never trust a business that doesn't do exactly what they do for themselves. I treat myself as the biggest client, just so you know, right? I'd love to have a connection via LinkedIn for any of your network, and or a good old-fashioned email or telephone is more than welcomed as well. Thanks very much.
Excellent. Thank you, Steve. And I think we do underestimate LinkedIn and don't work that enough. So have a chat with Steve, everyone. Reach out. And I noticed on your website you've got the audit. So that's a great way to find out where you're at and what you need to do.
Thanks.